Two of our last recent writers' meetings were a study in contrasts with the problem of trying to put oneself in someone else's shoes. In the first one, we were on the 5th floor open area of our public library, and right next to the ESL Writers Club, and not making any contact with them, trying to do our writing and discussing and without making too much noise, even though one of the relatively new members was quite irrepressible and difficult to keep quiet and breaking out chuckling at various times. So we were in constant worry of being kicked out, and that affected much of what we wrote in the stories. In the second meeting, though, we decided to go down to the basement and looked for a meeting room, and we were lucky enough to find that one hadn't been booked, or it had been booked and then abandoned, so then we could walk in and use it. This made a huge difference to the writing. There was a lot of tune playing and booty shaking, which was actually written up as an official agenda item on the whiteboard, and shoe swapping, people taking off their shoes, putting them on, asking what it was like to wear different items of clothing that the other ones didn't usually wear. So that was all the things that we couldn't do so much in the previous meeting. So it just went to show what a difference it can make to someone's writing when there's an available spot where you can let loose a bit. And that also showed, I think, that for a lot of people, writing isn't really such a purely cerebral activity as we often think it is. There was a lot of massaging that went on before we got started writing, and dancing and other forms of activity. So I think that loosened people up, and if you get your circulation going and you don't feel repressed or put down in some way, then it can loosen you up in terms of writing, and that seemed to happen particularly with one of the people there, so that person got a lot more writing done than ever before. The stories were about these sorts of things, like how do you judge what someone was like when all you have left is their clothes in a closet, or normally inanimate objects that are put in a closet and then start talking. Or in one case there was booty of a different kind falling from the sky, and it was the rain was more valuable than the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but some people went and tried to put themselves in the shoes of the people with the pot of gold anyway, and did manage to find it, even though it wasn't as valuable as the rain. There was also one in which a Miley Cyrus fan swung in on a wrecking ball through the side of someone's apartment and instantly swapped clothes with them and then swung back out again. So there were all these instances of being put in someone else's shoes, and it made me reflect on the barriers that are put between us by theft. Things like theft of shoes and abandonment of shoes, which is one of the prompts I used for the meeting, and which is one of the ones that was incorporated into a previous video. And the difficulties we have when we have this theft separating people from the shoes that they could use to try to put themselves in someone else's place, and when we have whole institutions based on theft or on transfer of wealth from one group of people to another without those people ever coming in contact. So our group then tried to overcome some of these barriers and imagine what it would be like to be in someone else's place. One of the resulting stories I didn't mention was about a gunslinger that draws from unusual places rather than shooting from the hip, because of the discussions we had about swapping roles.